And this unveiling of Christ that you're talking about, I don't know how to explain it to people, but the people that you saw, like in the Passion of the Christ with Mel Gibson and so on, you saw all the torture that Jesus went through when he went to the cross, and then his death and his resurrection. Okay, we have this human picture of Jesus, but he is so much more. He is the God-man. We saw the man, and there were glimpses of the God that came out of that human picture that we saw. The disciples saw him once in a while, and they were frightened. And I love the fact that he's going to give this revelation to the Apostle John. And, you know, at the Last Supper, the guys were sitting around the table, and all of a sudden Jesus makes the announcement, somebody's going to betray me. And so everybody said, well, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And you would think they'd go to Peter because he's supposed to be the head of the crowd. Peter doesn't do that. He leans over to John, the beloved disciple who's leaning on Jesus' chest, and he says, you ask him. And John says, which one is it? It was Judas. That's how close he was to Jesus. Okay, so Jesus now gives him the revelation. He comes to heaven, and his buddy, John, this time when he sees Jesus, he's unveiled, and he says, when I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. Okay, what kind of unveiling do we see go on?
I think it's so, and thank you for that recap and putting that in context, because John says in the second verse that he was an eyewitness to these events.
I love that.
So yeah, over 50 times in this book he says, I saw with my own eyes. Over 30 times he said, I heard with my own ears. So the book of Revelation for us is future prophecy. For John, it was history. He saw it and he heard it. And so if I can give you just briefly his testimony, and you set it up from that Last Supper, he was the one that leaned on Jesus' shoulder and was the most intimate with Jesus. He was the beloved disciple. He had followed Jesus for 3 years. He had seen him do miracles, walk on the water, feed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish, raise the dead, heal the lepers. You know, just John had seen all of that. And then he also was there on that early Friday morning when in the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was arrested by the authorities, and he was a relative of the high priest, so he followed Jesus to the house of Caiaphas, where Jesus was put on trial before Annas, then Caiaphas, and then before the full Sanhedrin. He heard with his own ears them convict him of blasphemy for claiming to be God in the flesh. And then Jesus was moved to the Roman courts, where he went before Pilate, the Roman governor, and then Herod, the Galilean king, and then back to Pilate. And John heard with his own ears Pilate say 7 different times, this man is innocent, this man is innocent. But then he said, you can crucify him. And John with his own eyes saw as they tortured Jesus, they beat him, they stripped him of his robe, they put a cross on his back, they led him up to Calvary. They nailed him on a cross beside the main road going into Jerusalem, lifted the cross up and planted it in the ground like a tree. John said, I saw with my own eyes Jesus of Nazareth crucified, and crucified as a common criminal. And John went back to that upstairs room where they'd had the Last Supper that you described, and John, he was hopeless. Everything that he had believed, everything that he had thought, the person that Jesus had revealed himself to John, it just shattered right there at the foot of the cross, because Jesus had died like a common criminal.